Ah, yes, glorious foundation, and glory to Raptoria. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to our first look, not really, at Foundation Update 1.9. All right, full disclosure, I have taken a look at this a little bit earlier in a live stream that you may have seen on the channel, but I know so many of you love video series, and I wanted to at least show you all the things that are new as best as I can in version 1.9. Now, this game is amazing, and I love it in every way, shape, and form. And I think Foundation and Manor Lords and Farthest Frontier and Ostrave, just to name a few, including Banished, are amazing games that all share a lot in common, and I would love to see certain parts of each of the games that I just mentioned in each other. For example, I would love to see some of the things from Manor Lords in Foundation, and I'd love to see some of the things in Foundation, including in the 1.9 update, added to Manor Lords in the future. Yes, you can build a military in this game. Yes, you can build defenses and big cities and do all sorts of trade and build massive cathedrals and monasteries, but unfortunately we don't really have any sort of, like, for example, battles that we can see or major defenses. I think that's something that Farthest Frontier and also Manor Lords does better, but Foundation is never done with its updates, and the dev team is always listening to more and more suggestions from the community, not to mention the game has mods, so anything that might be missing, hey, it's there for you. Now, I think the update came out on the 19th of October, and I'm recording this on the 24th, so I believe maybe some mods might be broken or not yet included, so if that happens, you know, it'll just be a little bit of time. But there is new things here. You can see over on the right side that there's changes to taxes and edicts and privileges and things like improvements to the monastery, new things to build, new ways to build things. We're going to go over that as we build a new kingdom here today. So again, a wall, an absolute wall. Take a second, do me a big O favor, and just spam Glory to Raptoria down below in the comments section. Or if you're watching in a video premiere, do it right now. Glory to Raptoria. Thanks again for all your support. Welcome to all you new subscribers. Thanks for becoming members. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being here. So, Foundation comes with 5 official maps, but again, there are modded maps that you can download. These are basically like coastal foundations, or I guess you could build your foundations on the coast. There's rivers and hills, mountains and valleys, even with rivers in them as well. So for today's purposes, we're going to try to do something with water. The hills map does not feature that, but the mountain map does. I think it actually features a river and also a coastline too, so 2 in 1. And so we'll join that map here now as we find our people waiting for us in Foundation. Let's go ahead and confirm and jump in to 1.9. Here we go. And here we are, we begin the building of our kingdom. So there's a lot of things that we may have taken a look at last time that are new and improved from previous versions. The UI looks cleaner and they've furthered their development and improvement of that. But one great thing here now is that the tutorial is back and it's better than ever because of all the changes. In this case, we're going to go ahead and skip some of that, and we're just going to get right into building, as I'm a little bit of an expert at this point. But with things being different, of course, well, I might miss some things here and there. It's all good. All right, let's go ahead and start by building a territory. Great idea for building or picking your first area to build in is, of course, identifying where there is stone and berries and trees. Now, luckily for us, there's probably not stone there, but there's probably some stone nearby, and the game also locks us to particular locations to build in, so I think there's like 3 or 4 that we possibly could start at, and a great position up here to build a lovely little bridge across, and I still don't know why this water looks teal like that. I feel like that's a development thing that's like still should be changed, but regardless, let's go ahead and claim our free territory. Look at that, we could even build all the way up here in the mountains if we want to as well, but this would be a great territory to build a castle or something along those lines later, and or maybe a city gate. Make sure everybody goes through there or something. All right, let's go ahead and purchase this territory. Mineral deposits were discovered nearby. I'm guessing it's probably something up there. But anyway, let's go ahead and place our village center now under the build menu. We can build the village center where a lot of supplies and stuff will be stored. I still think there could be something different for this. It'd be nice if it just put down like maybe a fountain or something like that, so you could mark the center of the city, a gathering place for all the people. But right now it's just a set of crates, unchanged from the very beginning of Foundation, but I think it should change. Let's plop it down right about here. A great spot to build as there's plenty of flat land. So it does give us that little open space to have everybody gather around. But let's go ahead and now start building all the things we need in order to build our kingdom. Looks like they've unlocked a lot of stuff for us from the start, too. Things like the rustic church and the ability to build the Lord's Manor, and also foresters and logging camps. We're going to start with a lumber camp, though, to cut down trees. And the large red circle here, of course, is the indicator to kind of remind you to keep it away from your residential buildings. It's like the negative impact of it being a little too loud or noisy or something for the townsfolk. They don't want to live next to it, so we'll plop it over there for now. And then we'll also build ourselves a building hut, so let's go ahead and get started with that. We'll plop that down maybe over here near the town square too, and we'll build maybe a marketplace and a few other central buildings here, things like a market, wells, storage, a few other things that don't really negatively affect the residential population, but that they might want to live near. Go ahead and build there. Now, the greatest thing about this game, too, is that when your people eventually begin to walk around, they will create pathways. And so you can almost see right there, if you look very closely, it might be hard to see, but there's a little bit of a path through the grass. And as our people walk around more and more, they'll eventually start creating pathways like they would in, remember Frostpunk, when you'd send your people out and they would kind of trudge through the snow and make little pathways that way? Or maybe from Austria from before, where your people could be controlled with fences on where to control their walking, like where they could walk and where they shouldn't walk, that kind of thing. Well, we'll get to that in just a moment when we can actually build, or rather layout, paint, I suppose, boundaries where our people can gather and where they're not allowed to gather. So, for example, with this berry hut here, as soon as this is built, our people will be ready to gather. So we have 3 things to do. We, 1, have to finish the building of the gatherer hut. 2, we have to put people inside that hut. But 3, we also must give permission for the peasants to be able to gather from these berry bushes. So even though we're building it here, we need to tell them, hey, take from these berry bushes specifically. So that way, if we built it somewhere else on the other side of the map or something, that would let them know, hey, go ahead and, you might be working here, but you have to go there to gather the berries, that kind of thing. All right, let's go ahead and tell our people that they can cut down a bunch of trees here in the forest. And typically what we do at the start, at least all of my starts in live streams and videos, is that we usually just cut down a whole forest in order to clear out the area for building houses. So we're going to go ahead and start by, I like to do this where good pro tip in City Skylines or any other game where you're trying to make a straight line for like a harbor or, I don't know, any sort of thing where you're terraforming or in this case doing some painting. You can just kind of line up your the bottom of a menu with the edge of like the hexagons here and purchase, or rather, I guess, indicate where the land can be. I see it as kind of like buying the land for the lumber mill, but we already own this, and we'll pay taxes on this too. So that's another thing, a little negative about the quick expansion of a city. If you buy a lot of land and don't really develop it, meaning that you're not really making money from its existence, you're just going to be doing yourself a little disservice by making it longer for your people to be able to make money, or lack of food or something. It's basically costing you money for the king. So let's go ahead and read more about villager aspirations. I believe this is new as well, where you can kind of set goals for the town. It kind of reminds me of how it works in The Sims when you give your sim a goal, like to become a famous artist or to become really good at cooking, or they want to become more physically fit, that type of thing. There's some things in this game that will allow you to pick, like having a famous builder, or dedicate to labor and have a certain number of population. You can basically set your own goals and get rewards for it. So if you want to build a city that's a little bit more focused on building beautiful cities, then you can go ahead and build like some gorgeous statues and or connect trade routes, or build a beautiful church, that kind of thing, which is, a lot of these are based on either constructing a beautiful building or getting enough people in the city to actually be able to, hit some of your other goals. Even if you're not really necessarily going for a larger population, you're probably going to end up doing that, taking advantage of all the other things that you want to do. Like, for example, if you're going to build a giant church, it takes a lot of people to do that. You got to have a lot of people to gather those stones, gather all the building materials, maybe trade for iron tools, that kind of thing, and then eventually do the work. All right, we're going to go ahead and put the stone mine over here too. We're going to try to keep some of the more noise-polluting buildings over here. And it looks like there's a tiny little stone deposit right here on the border. We're going to go ahead and gather from that as well. We'll need stone for the, I believe, a well. We'll need wood for homes. We'll need wood for many other things, and we'll start trading here shortly. Looks like all of our peasants are bringing over all the things that they need. Very good. Berry bushes are doing very good over there. A couple people standing around, but that's my fault. We need to get ourselves some more businesses going. So let's go ahead and build a granary and then some other storage buildings. So I'm going to go ahead and build our granary where we might build ourselves a market. And I think a great spot for the market might just be literally around the center to start with. You can always delete things, you can always move things, you can always edit things in this game. But you know what, this fits so perfectly, I'm just so tempted to put it here. It's like, it's like a glove. It's like a glove. That's a beautiful fit. We're going to put that in right there. So the berries can be gathered and then brought to the granary to be kept off the ground. Of course, that's for prevention of spoilage or for critters getting to it. In this case, Foundation is really a much more laid-back experience from like Ostriv or Farthest Frontier or also Manor Lords. And I think one of the games that I've enjoyed the most, even though a lot of people have found it frustrating, is the crop rotation and the spoilage of Farthest Frontier. That has taught me a lot and given me a lot of respect for the different types of crop rotations that they came up with, different types of plants, and Ostriv started that too. Ostriv was the first game to do that, and I think Farthest Frontier really perfected on that, and of course taking into account the banished formula too. So I would love to see Manor Lords and Foundation get a little bit more for crop rotation and spoilage and things like that. We're going to bop up to Speed 2 now. We got a few things to do. We got to get Keanu Reeves in here, and also, of course, we need to get, what's his name? Was it Willem Dafoe in that movie as well? With the leeches and stuff? Maybe yeah, no one knows what I'm talking about. Never mind. Anyway, let's take a look at our book here. Now, this is, of course, a little bit more redone than before. It's newer, I should say. There's been some great improvements since we did a last major series on this channel. This is not necessarily new for 1.9, but some things here are new and have been moved around. Like, for example, prosperity is now a thing where the more and more prestige or prosperity that we get, then we can basically buy upgrades that way. It's like almost unlocking rather than researching. So we can get things like, for example, a warehouse, which we certainly want, or a wooden bridge if we needed to build across a river or a lake. Or another thing I love about this, too, is that we can actually build bridges across land. So if we needed to, let's say we wanted to build a bridge. Let's say this water was not here and it was just a canyon. We could actually build across there, too, or just any sort of rolling hill. So it's really cool, and you can make lovely entrances into, like, farm areas or something like that. You could just put in a lot of detail. Like, for example, here, let's just say you see this little notch here. You could just put a bridge across it over that little valley, and it looks really cool to have long, continuous roads that look well thought out. Okay, well, our people are extracting all of the trees now. Let's go ahead and assign a couple people to the stone miner. I think we literally only need a couple, and we're going to build that warehouse now, too, next to the... actually, you know, that would look great behind the builder's building. This is where all the construction material would be needed for the builder. So we could store things like planks, logs, and stone here, and of course that's who's going to need those materials, the builders, when they get ready to build something new. So let's put the warehouse there. And the builders are working, good. All right, so we've got logs being gathered, correct, yep. And we just need somebody to come gather that. So I think there's a way possibly to make this a priority. Yeah, we can make one building at a time a priority, so versus the warehouse and the granary, the warehouse should be built first. And that'll be a much better... Oh, actually, wait a minute. The warehouse actually requires planks, so we won't be able to do that just yet. So let's get the granary done. And we'll build a sawmill. Sawmill to make planks, so then we can make the warehouse that you just saw. So that's pretty much the only purpose of the sawmill, is to make planks. And so I think it's right here, yep. And so it is a good idea to try to keep all your industrial buildings together for as long as possible. Buildings that you probably will not move are definitely the stone mining building and your... maybe your sawmill. If you keep those two together, you can kind of put them in a nice area so that we can keep everything else away. And then eventually, you'll probably want to build a forester building and then build your logging camp way outside of town, so that way the noise is kind of... And the trees that they cut down are away from the, you know, the town. There's no downtown logging camp, you know what I mean? There might be one near downtown for a sawmill, but that's a different story. Time to build some homes. Let's go ahead and get our people into some brand new homes here. Let's go ahead and shave off the corner here of this extraction area. We're going to go ahead and just shave that off a little bit. There we go. And we're going to put residential homes here. We're going to approve the peasants to be able to build their own homes, their own dream homes. But unfortunately, not going to be really desirable. There's not really much we can do to raise the desirability at the moment. We can build a few things, wells, and eventually we can build like things for decoration plant-wise, like trees and bushes and other things to do with flowers and whatnot. But for now, so long as it's not like literally in the sawmill, they'll be pretty happy. Your peasants are not too hard to please. They're just happy to be alive and not dead to death. All right, let's go ahead and kind of expand that area a little bit more. Another great thing is we can put a church nearby. A church will also raise the desirability. There's many things at the start that can raise the desirability. Just a few small things, and then bigger projects need to take place. So let's go ahead and build that all the way up against the wall there. There we go. And we see a few plots already being placed down. Looks like 3 of them. And we'll go ahead and put a well between those two so the people there can get some well water. And it looks like the granary is being built too. So a lot of these things take wood to build, which are essentially just blank plain old logs. So they're cutting down the trees, bringing them back to the logging camp, and then workers are coming to pick them up. The builders primarily are picking up those logs to build the granary and then those houses. So these workers here are kind of standing, they're hoping that they'll have a home one day. So they're just kind of dreaming, waiting, dreaming and scheming, let's say, as they await for builders to come build their homes, which don't really take too many materials. I think it's 10 logs, which sounds like a lot, but really it's not going to be that much, especially when these houses can be upgraded and they require more things. Think of it like how it is in Anno, where Tier 2 home requires a few requirements to be met for the people living there, and then they'll upgrade, and then those upgrades require materials on top of that. So you might need things like polished stone, or maybe like planks or fabric, that type of thing. So yeah, we have our first house. Excellent. Now, great thing about this game too is you can rename every building. So if you want to call it Bob's house, or if you wanted to name this like Builder's Workshop 1, or if you wanted to name a market like Central Market or East Market, or name it after somebody, you can do that. And I believe you can also rename your people too, so you can name it after all your friends and whatnot. All right, I was saying peasants before, but these are serfs technically, but we'll just keep calling them peasants because I like doing things wrong. Let's go ahead and add a couple more workers here. We need a few more cut stone. We are building the sawmill. That'll take 10 stone, and the warehouse, which will also take 10 stone. And I think, honestly, I'm going to want to build the sawmill first, because without the sawmill, the warehouse just can't get built. So far, so good. A few more homes actually being constructed? No, just the same 3. But one of them is done. So the peasants also have a population of, I think, only 2 people can live there. Okay, I thought it was 4. I do believe when the houses upgrade, they will be able to hold more people, and the resources that we'll be able to get will far exceed things like berries, cloth, wood, stone, and tools. We can eventually make glass and wine. The monastery is probably my favorite building because I usually put it up on a mountain, build a massive monastery, because then, of course, it has a lot of buildings that are attached to it, like an herb garden, which can be used for, I think, making medicines and possibly for spice. Something to do with... I think it goes beyond medicine. I thought it was something to do with food, or perhaps it's served in the tavern. But then you can have an apiary for bees, which I don't know why they call it that, but apparently monkeys will come and take care of the bees. I think that's how that works. That's why they call it an apiary, right? Anyway, so you'll have candles, I believe, come from that. And I think there's also honey in the game, too. I'm not sure if that's a recipe for making mead or any sort of alcoholic beverage in the brewery, but yeah, so you can actually make your own barrels too. So you have a cooperage, and so thus you take metal and you take planks and put those together to make a cooper, which then makes barrels for your winemaking, and you can export that. A lot of trade neighbors too. In fact, one of the early trading partners that we probably want to team up with now as we're getting ready to trade here is probably going to be Northbury. We have also Middle and Davenport to trade with. You can see the things that they sell and buy. Most importantly, we want to start selling planks. And we probably want to start selling berries right away, just to get enough cash to start buying tools to then power build a church as soon as possible. Now, we're playing a little faster than usual. In fact, even speed 3 for me is a little slower than really what it should be. But honestly, there is no rush in this game. Don't take your time. If it's year 1 or 1,000 and you built a massive cathedral, don't worry about it. The longer you take actually in the game, I think it looks nicer to... one thing I like to do in City Skylines and in this game is to try to go with the initial starting area for as long as possible, because then that makes it look like the old district. It looks like, this is obviously in this game, the time before cars, but, especially in City Skylines, the smaller your layouts, it just means that there wasn't really any cars. And so for your people, nobody wants to walk all the way to the logging site that's, blocks and blocks away, or, like a quarter mile or, a half kilometer away. But then again, they're going to have to at some point, because the forests are going to have to, be cut down and replaced with homes. And then we're going to have to buy a new territory, probably up here, in order to cut down some more trees, which will really help us to expand. And so the logging camp will stay with it, but the sawmill will not. This will be our nice little industrial area over here. Oh no, we've got too many workers assigned to other jobs. No worry, though. We can go ahead and, well, actually, we need to get the granary going too. Let's go ahead and assign somebody there and assign berries to be gathered. Food's a top priority, so we really don't want to take anybody off that job, but we can go ahead and, let's see, we can scale back on, let's say stone cutting a little bit. Let's leave 1 stone cutter now. Not too many buildings that will need stone yet. Let's go ahead and assign 2 people to cut logs into planks, and then, oh yeah, Looks like the well is getting done as well. And a builder, I think it's, yeah, ongoing construction. It's not yet complete. It'll have a little roof over when it's all done and ready to go. So anyway, we got a warehouse being built here now. Planks should be delivered shortly, so that's the only thing missing there. Workers now building the well, so that's all done. Excellent work. And that's pretty much the only construction going on right now is our warehouse. So, and of course the houses too, which is a constant battle. Really trying to get the people of your city to continuously build homes can be a real struggle. As of course desirability is important, and also other things, like for example their happiness. Right now the village happiness is okay at 19%. We really don't have any of their needs met, aside from the things to just maintain basic life. So really just like some homes and some food is really all they want at the moment. But eventually they want things like religion, as it's called in the game, service. So we'll go ahead and give them religious service soon. We just have to get up to building that cathedral. Or whatever we build first. Typically, I build the first church way too large for a few reasons. One, it's harder to expand upon it later on, especially if you're trying to keep to that small area start. And then two, obviously, as the city expands, the needs of the church the needs of the people will expand. So the church, as I mentioned, needs to expand too. So it's kind of a, you know, two birds with one stone, I guess you could say. Like, you know, the church needs to grow for multiple reasons, and so thus you may as well just build it big at the start. Looks like we have another house being built. We have a population of 12. More serfs will come in as life improves. Hey, we went from 19 to 36. Excellent. And so home number 4 being built, warehouse being constructed. We're going to need more people here. We're going to need to buy some more territory and get more people working on that land. We're going to leave anybody who comes into the village, we're going to assign them to things like the sawmill and the maybe the market that we're about to build too. I don't want to add out on too many things at the moment since they're building the warehouse, but the marketplace will be fairly simple. It's just a few, you know, tables essentially. So if we build a market, it's not like we're building Stonehenge or something. We're just building a few little stalls. So this is going to be our let's see, free build. And we're going to free build some market stalls here, so we can go into the construction menu. Let's see, how do we do this exactly? Actually, does it need to be on market? I thought free build would allow us to do a free market however we wanted. Ah, okay. So it's not that, it's actually selecting food stalls. It would be nice in this game if they did save blueprints. That's what I had in my mind. It would be great to actually have some blueprints for markets, because if you build a beautifully detailed one, where of course you can build markets with like barrels and you know, seating areas and nice fencing, it would be nice to copy and paste a few markets together. We're going to build a few markets here though along this area in order to get started. In fact, I think I'm going to build these back to back and try to turn this all into a market area. And we could put little cloth awnings, rustic tent, yeah. So I'm going to try to keep them a little farther apart so they can do that. That'll take some of our cloth, and so we'll do that as well. That could add desirability, could add maybe some prestige or something like that, so let's do that. Now, right now, we're only going to have one type of food, but since we're near the coast, there is a chance for us to get fish. So if we expand down here, we could sell both berries and fish, and then expand upon things like bread and cheese, and we can get a lot more food if we actually go out for the king on quest. We can get wine and other things that if we don't produce it, or if we don't trade for it, we can still get it via the king, which is pretty cool on the quest that he wants us to do. Or possibly rewards from the clergy. There's other ways to get rewarded other than just military conquest and, you know, growing it yourself, or obtaining it somehow by your own actions. Just kind of listening to orders can be a good thing too. All right, let's get somebody at the granary now. We got more people coming into the city. We can finally start filling some of these jobs. We're going to assign some planks here. No, planks. Let's do 2 planks, logs, and some stone. And I think the sawmill is going to really just be able to blaze through all the wood that we're cutting down. Those logs are going to be cut pretty quickly into planks. So, and we've got 10 tools now, so we can start with a small church. I think we'll start, just for purposes of today's video, we'll start a little small. But we do eventually want to grow up to a big old church. So that'll be cool. Maybe we could build the church over... I want to keep this for residential, so let's build the church maybe this way. And we'll kind of build it a little further from the town, but like still in the town, you know what I mean? Alright, so let's go ahead and build a rustic church. We'll go ahead and start with just the similar or singular rustic church building and a little bell tower. We're just keeping it simple for today. Build that a little taller. Build a door. And we could build a few little chapels here. Can we build these? We'll add a couple little pieces of flair to the sides of the tower. Actually, let's do it, is there a way we can do it midway? There's a way we can turn off snap too, so let's do it like this. If we just do like a midway building like that, I think that looks just fine. Little exits maybe to the, if we build a cemetery or whatnot, which is something I end up doing. So that looks fine. Let's do that, and then let's add a couple of little inclines here for the church. Actually, could we put those near the bell tower? Oh, that'll look nice. It'll add like a little roof onto the back. I don't know. Whatever. It looks fine. And we can add decorations and other things later. There's much more we can unlock over time. But anyway, that'll be a massive construction project for the town, which means we need to start importing. So let's find a trade partner. Northbury will unlock trade for 20 planks, so let's sell that. And now we can start trading. So if we go to the book down here. Now, this is all old stuff, but some of this is new. Inside the book, we can name our village and such too through this menu. So we can go ahead and be the village of Raptoria, and we can make ourselves Lord Raptor, I guess. And you can also be a lady if you want to. So Lord or Lady of your kingdom there, and then we're gonna go ahead and start selling. So let's go ahead and sell anything above. Let's keep 10, and so anything sell above 10. And we want to purchase tools, so let's keep those numbers up. This is what we need to build a church, so let's keep that at 10 as well. We'll try to keep most things at 10. The berries we'll keep at 50. We do need food, so let's keep those down to 50. And a trader should be around every so often. You may see somebody walking through the village with a little, I think it's a hand-in-hand, like a handshake symbol. And so that's a business partner of ours that'll come to town and start doing trades at the granary and the warehouse. I don't think they actually go to the marketplace, but there you see him right there. And looks like he goes in the granary too. Be kind of cool if he bought wares at the market and traded with the market dealers here. But all right, we're starting to get a few more people into the town, a few more buildings being built. We want happiness to go up, so more people want to move into the town. Happiness now sitting at 45, not bad. When the church gets built, that'll probably go up to the mid-60s maybe. Be quite nice. There we go. Let's build a little section back here. Ah, that's beautiful. How wonderful. Now let's build that there. Okay, nice. All right, a little bit better looking town, I'd say. At least areas for the buildings to be built. Now, there may never be residential homes here, but if we expand, we can always dedicate that area for later. A lot of blank space is going to be here for a very long time until it finally gets occupied by homes. So, all right, more people coming into the city. Fantastic. Let's check. Okay, yep, we're good on the lumber camp. Let's check out the sawmill. That's making good planks. Looks like the church is getting materials delivered like crazy. Let's go ahead and get somebody on berries here. Go ahead and have somebody work there. We do 2. Well, let's assign a resource. Berries to start with. Fish will come later. And we still need to assign somebody to the warehouse too. But as you can see, some people are coming in. Just takes a little bit of time. Luckily, nobody's unemployed, so we got 100% rating on that so far. All right, we could expand the city. We can buy a territory. It looks like it's going to cost us nothing. It'll be free to actually purchase that. So let's buy it down by the water for 2 reasons. 1 for the fish and 2 for the trees that are down there. We'll continue to cut this area out. And I think what we'll do is we'll probably build our village. This will be like the northern section of the village, and we'll have it kind of widen out. So it'll be like a triangular shape. So we'll have a market in the north, a market in the east, and the west, and that'll kind of give us good coverage. Then we could build a big cathedral in the middle, and maybe put a central market there too. Now, another good thing to note in this game is with fishing, we don't necessarily have to own the territory to do fishing. So even though we bought a coastal territory here that has no fish in it, we can essentially just fish from the neighboring sector, and the king won't mind if we go into those lands. All right, let's expand our expansion, or rather, let's expand our extraction in the new expansion, and we'll just go ahead and put everything blue just so everything can be clear cut. We want everybody to cut everything down. Nice. All right, so the loggers will get to work cutting down even more logs. We're going to need that for the church. We're going to need that for new homes. We're going to need that for everybody to feel great and happy and cared for. Happiness now up to 74%, down to 70 now. It'll keep bouncing back and forth as time goes on, but regardless, it's a pretty good setup, I must say, for like a quick build like this so far. All right, goal today is to at least try to get the church done. Luckily, it only takes 34 parts for us, so and we got none at the moment, but we are trading planks. So essentially, all the lumber that's coming in needs to be turned into planks as quickly as possible. And I think we need more logging going on, just so we can do things faster. So let's build another temporary logging camp. It's so simple to build these. It's essentially like a tree stump and like a little, like a log tipped over or something for them to sit on. It's like a tree stump to cut things into smaller pieces, and then like an area to chill, maybe cook food. It's quite simple, so it costs us nothing. All right, nobody else in the town just yet. Coming into the town, I should say, but we do have trading going on, so our friend there should trade us, as long as the transporter has some stuff there for sale. We need to get another worker, so we're just waiting for more people to come into the town. But luckily, he is buying our berries. We do have one person to transport all the berries to the granary, and then somebody to bring them from the granary to the marketplace, which should generate money for us. I'm not sure if we don't have something to directly trade, if we can just buy it. I think money is mostly used for taxes and then for fees for certain construction. It costs a little bit of money sometimes to obtain special items, or if you're building a cathedral or something like that. Maybe if you put a gargoyle on there, it'll take polished stone and then also like some cash to have them do it, that kind of thing. All right, things are going well so far. Very well. Trees are being cleared out even faster than before. Workers are getting quite experienced in their jobs. I believe there is job experience in this game. Yeah, there you are. Job. Carpenter level 1. So as they continuously do their job more and more, they'll become more and more efficient at their jobs. So no doubt very soon these workers will be able to turn logs into planks faster than before and cut down trees faster than before. So everything's speeding up now. Very good. Looks like somebody has moved in. Let's go ahead and get somebody to, transport some things then. So we got granary, warehouse, all the other buildings good to go. The church, by the way, I think to this day does not need a priest working at it. Previously, we always thought that church would need paper, and it would need books, and it would need candles, and it would need a priest or a bishop, or whatever type of building you were building. It would take somebody inside of it to work, and that you'd have to work with the church, but not just yet. But I'd love to see more things involving the king, the clergy, and then also military. However, they've made some great improvements to things and the ability to designate certain buildings. Like, for example, when we build the Lord's Manor, we'll be able to designate sections of that building, which we can build multiple sections onto a large building. All the major buildings in this game, like for example the church, can be made into little nodules or modules or whatever you want to call them that can be connected. And so you can put them very close together or snap them together, make them various amounts of heights. And so you can make a big O tower for your tax collection, like your treasury office, and then build the tax collector in a smaller building so you can store the gold in the tower, and then also have a place for you to stay to meet guests and dignitaries and that type of thing. So yeah, Foundation is amazing so far. I can't wait for the improvements. And same with Manor Lords too, and Farthest Frontier. All of these games are still technically under development. Foundation been around for a while, but still getting better. Farthest Frontier has frame rate issues, but it's getting improvements and new features. Banished been around a billion years, but got a billion mods, so, like every second there seems to be a new mod for Banished to improve it even more. And not to mention and forget, really, other games like Life is Feudal Forest Village and lots and lots of survival city builders too. However, anything that kind of has pre-electricity is very good. In fact, I would say that there's a game that does electricity well, where it almost feels like it doesn't exist, like, for example, Stranded Alien Dawn. Stranded Alien Dawn is a game where we can build a lot of defenses, like in Dawn of Man 2, which is another prehistoric / caveman city builder. But what I mean by that is that the game does have solar panels and electricity, but it only matters for basically preserving food and building some defenses and stuff. So it actually is quite light on that. So it's really cool to see games that feature a lot of actual building with wood and stone and natural materials. And then if they have electricity, which this does not, of course, comes into play later. But the big important thing here is wind power in this game. And one thing I'd like to see too is that if we put a windmill up on a higher position here or something like that, it'd be really cool if windmills could be more productive as they are in Manor Lords, the higher up that they're placed, or if they're free of trees. So if we happen to put one like over here on the coast, that's a great spot for a windmill to be. Wind should be whipping and blowing through all the time, so it'd be perfect for us to make flour for bread. Hey, look at this. Wow, we've got a lot of homes now. Great various sizes for the homes, too. I wonder if they added new home types. I think they always used to be like very large like this, and then they've added smaller ones, too, that seem to be various sizes, or almost that they look like they're connected together, which this one actually is. Wow, it's 2 houses in one, but it's still only... Wow, it has a 6-person occupancy? Ah, they can hold up to 6 people now. Well, this holds 2, but this holds 6, and it's because the density is higher. Must be because of an upgrade or possibly desirability. So that's why decorations are key, and that's why we're probably going to build more houses around the church here and build closer and closer to the coastline. Wow, happiness is at 100%. That's incredible. Great job, everybody. Fantastic work. All right, more planks being delivered, more logs being delivered, more berries being delivered. We need to get more tools then. We need to be able to trade for that. In fact, we should be able to... Did I do this correctly? Let's see. Tools. Buy until inventory reaches 10. Let's do 20, in fact. In fact, go even crazier than that and say 25. There we go. And I believe people might be able to attend the church before it's completed, like as the construction crews are putting on finishing touches to buildings outside the main building, like, for example, a bell tower, as they're basically finishing that. People can go into the church and it'll operate as if it were open, but maybe it's at a smaller capacity, that type of thing. All right, another person here. Let's go ahead and increase our efficiency on storage. Get 2 people working there. We have 1 more person unemployed. Let's go ahead and get them assigned to... not stone cutting, but let's do... Yeah, actually, stone cutting would be good. After a while, our consumption of wood will slow down as soon as the church is complete. But the basic progression of things is that when the church is done, it's really easy to be able to move on to obtaining more hexagons. So it really is like, once we have this church completed, we'll use the money to build a Lord's Manor and then use that for a taxation system, and then we can start to obtain more land that way. In fact, we could put the Lord's Manor somewhere inside the village, although after playing Manor Lords, I kind of want to at least attempt to try to put it on some sort of an elevated position, although it doesn't have to be too crazy. In fact, it could just be right back here, which is fine because, of course, the Lord's Manor will take quite a bit of materials to build, especially wood. So if we happen to build it back there, that'll be fine. Or we could just put it here. There's actually a really nice looking area. I was going to say it looks like a hill, according to how the trees look, but they're going kind of down the slope. So it looks like the central area is taller, but it is not. Regardless, everybody's working, everybody's doing, moving, and shaking, so that's good. We got maximum immigration right now. Everybody's really happy. Everything's hunky-dory for these people. Good. Go ahead and continue to expand our city then. Go with the old trick for the expansion. And we'll build houses. We can build close to the church. They won't overlap the church, or, you know, it won't damage it in any way, or like it won't affect its productivity. Let's just put it that way. There we go. All right, so extraction's looking good. We are pretty much done with everything over here. You can see how quickly our people have cut down all those trees. Now, this game doesn't feature seasons. I would love to see that as a thing. There are rainstorms. There is weather, so it implies that there's seasonal changes. But, you know, we can grow wheat year-round. We can have animals, like, for example, sheep. There is animal husbandry, and we can take care of them pretty easily. So, all right, new content available to unlock. So we can now go to the Prosperity tab under the, Prosperity / Progression tab. That's what it is. We can do farming. That's a little too early for now. Goods market, a little too early for now. Let's do fishing for more food, and we'll get started with that. Maybe clothing. We'll get a sheep farm. But I think we want more people first. If we're going to do any of these jobs, we know that it takes more and more people, so let's just focus solely on that, and we'll focus on building the church. I will put the little fishing dock over here. Oh boy, there was always an argument as to which way it faced before. There we go. This is the way. This is the way. And 40 wood for that. Okay, that's going to be a lower priority though. Let's go ahead and make the go ahead and make the church the high priority. And we still want some more tools. Luckily, we're making a great amount of cash. And hopefully the neighbors bring a lot more materials soon too, like the tools and other things that we might order. What else might we want from the neighbors? Let's take a look. They are selling fish and glass. They're selling honey and cloth, so honey is here. Common wares and tools. Could buy a little bit of cloth too. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll be able to build more marketplaces that way. Until we can get our own sheep. It's a very simple purchase. Let's just keep the numbers at, let's say 10 at all times, if we can. Now, another slowdown here too is that the workers inside of the buildings have a certain capacity, so we got to make sure transportation is constantly going at the sawmill and stuff like that. We got to make sure everything's being stored and being moved and constantly being protected from being too, how would you say, overflowing. It'll stop the supply chains if we don't have everything where it needs to go. So we just got to keep an eye on everybody, make sure things are going where they need to. All right, the little well there is nice. When the church is completed, that should give a boost too. Hopefully some people want to build their houses back there. Alright, a newcomer requests an audience. Done. A new advice can be heard. So, let's see. Are we going to be part of the clergy, the laborers, or the kingdom? Manor houses will serve the laborers. Our churches will be the pride of the clergy. Let's see. A splendor package for the manor house. Let's go with that. Typically we go with the church, but let's mix it up a little bit. So splendor in this game is kind of like, it's tied to prestige, where the more time you put into building beautiful marketplaces and beautiful churches, and building things simply beyond just trying to maximize capacity, you'll be rewarded for it. So let's go ahead and build our Lord's Manor down here as soon as they're done cutting down all those trees. We'll get a few more people on wood cutting. How many unemployed? 2. Go ahead and get... oh, they haven't even built that yet. Because we need 5 tools. All the tools are going towards the church, though, which is strange because it's still locked at 10. I haven't seen much more progression there for them building that. But regardless, we'll keep everybody working. Maybe we'll go for a little bit more transportation to the warehouse so we can buy more stuff. Here comes the trader again. You know what? I think I understand what the problem might be. I do not have storage for tools, so thus he can't deliver it anywhere. That might be something that needs to change. Another thing about these warehouses is, yeah, the trouble with the warehouses is that they store a very limited amount of stuff. They require workers, and if you want to store more stuff, it means you got to build more warehouses. So it's a constant battle of building storage for tons of stuff. Let's go ahead and put a storage thing here. And then we'll just take some of that workforce there and expand our storage. So yeah, we have like 4 slots for storage, but we have like, what, 6 items? And so some things, well, the berries don't really count, but we probably want 2 slots for everything. So like 2 for the lumber and 2 for the logs here at this first warehouse, and then maybe our tradable goods in the other one. But goal today is to try to get that church done to take our first steps, and then start planning out the Lord's Manor. And then we can expand to fishing too, which is more happiness for our people because they'll have food variety and more things to buy with their money, which will be great. Looks like a newcomer is approaching the village. Population now sitting at 21. Happiness damn near 100. Very nice. 2 more people coming in. Fantastic. We'll get them to work in the... let's get them to work in the granary so that can continue to work. Actually, you know what? I think we really only need 1 person there since it's across the street. Literally across the street from the... Actually, we'll just keep it to 2 if we can. Or maybe 1. We'll check back on that later. Building is going on again. And now, of course, we have fish, yeah. Now, another cool thing is that we can easily track this, too. So if we want to, we can kind of see how many fish we have at certain areas. Like, for example, if we right-click on the berries, we can see exactly where all the berries are. So we can see where there's slowdowns in the production chain. So right now, there's almost nothing at the berry gather itself. It's all going straight to the granary, and then a lot of it's being stored at the marketplace, too. So it's in the areas we want it to be in, so we can see where things are and where they've been, that kind of thing. Kind of cool. All right, the church is getting built. More tools have arrived. Excellent. We are going to build a second warehouse, though, regardless. We need more tools. And we need the more tools for the other lumber camp. Now, we'll probably leave these lumber camps here. We'll probably buy this territory just for the wood alone, and same with up here. And then we can turn this land, anything near the water will more than likely be a residential/commercial part of the town. And anything near the hills, this could be a perfect area for a farm, rolling wheat fields, or even a sheep farm, which of course will give us the cloth and other things we need for tailors, and we can make clothing and sell it that way, which are great money makers too in this town. Hey, would you look at that? Our friend there is starting to drop off the tools now. Good. We'll move around all the stuff so that way we have plenty of. We have a option to improve trades with Norbury. Let's see. You will have what you need. They want us to accumulate 50 bread inside of storage facilities. Or they want us to invest. We don't have cash. We don't really have the bread. They're giving us 60 days, though. So let's go ahead and accept it and see if we can do it. It might be unlikely, but we can unlock farming. That's going to be a little bit of a way to go, though. If we go to Prestige, we could unlock farming, which gives us the wheat farm, the windmill, and the bakery. I think it's called the Bakari. Yeah, the Bakari. And so, yeah. We can do all that. We're going to need a lot more people, though. A lot more people to do all that work. That is not going to be an easy job. And hey, look at that. Now we got like 51 people coming in weekly, even though there's 23. But we can change the bells if we want to. Daily, light bells. We can change the pitch and the delay. That kind of thing. But nice. All right, so that'll increase happiness even more now that they've got access to service. And we should have more people ready to finish some of these jobs. More trade coming in. Fantastic. Trees getting cleared real quick. Let's hire ourselves a fisherman. Let's have somebody at the granary pick up the fish. And let's assign somebody to work at the market for fish sales. Not scales, but sales. We got one extra person left, so we'll put them at the warehouse as soon as that construction is done. It looks like they're still putting finishing touches on the church. It's really cool how the church can actually work while they're kind of finishing up things that are not necessarily tied to the building's function, but are kind of more either beautification or storage. So it looks pretty nice. I like it. It's okay. You can always make an expansion or delete completely, add on a little cemetery, make things look as realistic or detailed as you'd like, or just know that it's going to be a simple temporary building and get rid of it for later. Or if you need to. Get rid of it later. All right, let's go ahead and do... We're going to move the tools over here. So let's do tools, stone. We're only going to probably have one tool. So let's do tools, stone, and polished stone for when we start building the... There's a thing that we can do, I think, a stone cutter that can gather those stones and then polish them and store them back here at the warehouse. So we'll move things around a little bit. A little moving, a little shaking. Let's go ahead and assign... Let's just get 2 people here at each building. Alright, so it should be down to 2 shortly. Somebody should come back and quit their job there. Ah, Churches of the Faith. Excellent. The clergy is happy with us building a church, so now we get a little bonus points there for prosperity. And we'll unlock more stuff that way. Pretty nice, I've got to say. And as soon as this land is clear, we build ourselves a Lord's Manor here, and then we can build the rest of the town around it. Another thing I'd like to see in this game would be waterborne trade. I would love to see big boats coming up and actually like arriving so we can load up those boats with materials and offload and see just big ports in function. Be really cool. I'd also like to see some of that in Manor Lords as well. Much more larger scale trade beyond just like the... Well, in this case, both games at the moment have just somebody transporting things on their back. But I would like to see somebody eventually riding a horse. and then bringing things around via wagon, maybe? That'd be kind of cool. A wagon transport would be awesome. Ostriv has that as well, so I think that's another game that does it well. But I'm so glad that I played all these city builders over the year. A lot of people ask me what my favorite is, and I think it's all of those games because they're all very similar, so it's always familiar with the progression of building things, but always very, very much different, too, with the different things that they do better than the other. All right, folks, well, that's pretty much it for our first look, quote-unquote first look, at the update 1.9 for Foundation. I hope you loved it. Let me know what you think down below. Glory to Raptoria down below in the comment section. Subscribe. Let me know if you want me to do a full series on it. You got to be aggressive, and let me know you want me to put a ton of time into it, and I'd be more than happy to do a full build now that we have a full release version of 1.9. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Take care, folks. Goodbye.